absolutely the most heartbreaking thing I have ever experienced was sitting next to my grandpa in the nursing home as he woke up and realized that the woman he called his wife for 1 month shy of 75 years had died. I will never ever forget that. Many years before, many years before, these two young, naive kids met on a double date. Actually, my grandpa was dating my grandma's cousin at the time, and they were together a little while, but she sort of realized pretty soon that Robert just wasn't the guy for her, and so she said, we're going to cut it off, and my grandma stepped in. So there they were, and on a very snowy February 17th in 1936, they drove to Newport, Pennsylvania, where the minister, with his wife as the only witness, married them, and they spent their honeymoon night in the home of some family friends that they were visiting. Very exciting. They went back to their home where they lived together for the rest of all of those 70-some years. And it was the place where that love really was born and grew. They really shared that loving home of theirs with dozens and dozens of foster kids, and with one very lucky little girl who was adopted by them in 1943 when she was 9 months old, and that was my mom. So over the years, my grandparents continued to share their love. I was very fortunate to be the firstborn grandchild, and I received a lot of that love. But it was the kind of family, oh, and my brother too, sorry, Steve, didn't mean to forget you. But we were both, it's all about me. We were really terribly loved by these people, and anytime that we went someplace new, we moved out of a 5-mile radius, my grandmother would write to us all the time, so I have tons of letters from her. And I got older, I had some kids of my own, and in the 80s, my grandparents celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. And, I looked at them and I was like, I don't get it. Like, why would people stay married? Like, what is marriage? It didn't look like much to me as a young person. And I thought, man, if that's what marriage is, I don't think I want to be married for 50 years, And so time went on. I sort of, didn't really think about that too much after that. But a number of years later, ill health and such, they ended up in the nursing home in the town near where they lived. And there are, there are like 20 houses in the town, and then there's the nursing home. So, when I was a kid, we would go to the nursing home and sing for people and visit my great-great-uncle Frank, who was there. And, it was just the place, you knew people from church, and then when they got really old, they went to the nursing home and you visited them there, and that was that. So for my grandparents going into the nursing home, it wasn't a really big deal for me. It was part of their life, part of their community that they had served and been in for many years. So near the sort of the end of the time that they spent together, the nurses told us one day when we went to visit about something that they thought was kind of neat. Because my grandpa would come every single day to visit my grandma while he was still at home and she was in the nursing home. And he would stick a little saltine, like a saltine cracker pack in his pocket, or one of those pink wintergreen lozenge things, because she loved them. He would stick them in her pocket. It was kind of like pocket candy. And he would pull this out for his girl, you know. And that was the time when I started to realize that there was something here. And that even though they weren't the type of people who showed a lot of outward affection, love was deep in this relationship. And there was an example of that as the nurses were telling us that one day they heard a funny noise and they looked around and they realized that it was like a motor of some sort. They looked out the back door of the nursing home and here comes Bob on the lawnmower, on the lawn tractor, because his car had broken down and he needed to get to his girl. So that's my story of love.